"Drop that card, lady. This unit is not for you." The auction guard barked it like a warning and a threat at the same time. Laughter rippled through the crowd. A black single mom stood there with her son asleep on her shoulder, her last cash folded in her pocket, and every eye telling her to back down. She didn't. She lifted her hand and bid $27 anyway. By sunrise, that small bid would crack open a secret big enough to change 2 lives. The storage auction sat behind a faded warehouse where the air smelled like dust, oil, and hot metal. Rows of doors waited like locked mouths. The regular bidders were already lined up, confident, loud, ready to flip junk into profit. They talked in fast numbers and easy jokes. None of them came for kindness. It came for bargains. Nia Brooks came for survival. 31 years old, slim, tired but straight-backed. Wearing a worn hoodie and shoes that had walked too many shifts, her son Malik, 2 years old, slept against her chest, warm and heavy. His small hand curled around a toy car missing one wheel. Nia worked at a diner, too many double shifts, too little pay, rent was due. The fridge at home was nearly empty. A neighbor said auctions sometimes had tools or furniture you could sell quick, maybe enough to breathe for 1 more month. That was all she wanted. 1 more month of breathing. Her life hadn't always been this tight. She used to have steady work at a clinic. She used to think love and plans were solid things. Father left when the baby was still tiny, without a goodbye that meant anything. Not long after, Nia's mother fell sick. Nia spent nights in hospital halls, smelling sharp cleaning spray and listening to machines that never slept. When her mother passed, the clinic downsized. Nia lost her job and her anchor at the same time. Since then, she had been stitching life together with grit and hope, refusing to let Malik feel the panic she swallowed daily. The auctioneer rolled open. Unit 49. Stale air drifted out. Inside were dusty boxes, 2 old cabinets, a tarp-covered shape in the corner, and a stack of worn suitcases. Nothing glittered. Nothing screamed money. The front row flippers shrugged. The auctioneer announced the owner had been Dr. Raymond Hale, a surgeon who vanished months ago after a public scandal. He stopped paying his bills, so the unit was abandoned by law. People leaned in at the doctor's name, expecting hidden value. Bidding started at 50, jumped to 60, then 70. The numbers felt lazy. The unit looked like trouble, not treasure. Then silence hit at 80. People lost interest fast. Nia watched, counting her small cash in her pocket without looking down. She had $40 left in the world. Every bid felt like a locked gate. But something in her pulled her forward. The tarp shape was long and narrow, not like old furniture. Suitcases looked real leather, not cheap plastic. The cabinets were solid wood. Her instincts, sharpened by years of making miracles from nothing, whispered try. She raised her hand and said 20-7. The guard laughed and told her to stop wasting time. A man in a ball cap snorted. Someone said she couldn't afford whatever was inside. Poverty made her invisible until she dared to speak. Then suddenly it made her a joke. Nia felt the heat rise to her face. She wanted to step back, to melt into the wall. But Malik's soft weight against her neck steadied her. She lifted her chin and kept her hand up. The auctioneer asked for higher bids. None came. The unit was hers. People shook their heads like she had just bought a mistake. Nia didn't answer. She signed the papers, paid her $27, and walked into the unit with the key in her palm. The corridor behind her sounded far away now, like she had crossed into a different world. Dust floated in the light inside the unit. Nia set Malik gently on the old sofa and told him to stay close. She opened the first box. Medical journals, framed photos of a smiling doctor beside an older woman, nothing to sell. The second box had kitchen items, worn and cheap. The cabinets held old blankets. Her chest sank. Maybe the crowd was right then. She unzipped the smallest suitcase. Inside were neatly folded boys' clothes. Soft, clean, Malik size. Nia froze. Clothes don't end up in storage by accident. Someone had packed them carefully, like they mattered. She opened another suitcase and found letters tied with a ribbon, handwritten. The first line stopped her breath. "If anything happens to me, please find my son." Nia read slower, hands shaking. The letters were from Dr. Hale to a boy named Eli. He wrote that Eli was his son, hidden from the world for years. He wrote that people close to him had trapped him in a false scandal and that he ran to keep Eli safe. He wrote that this unit held proof, a trust fund for the boy, and a last hope that someone honest might find it. A phone number sat at the bottom of the final letter. Nia stared at the ink until it blurred. Malik tugged her sleeve, asking why she looked sad. She told him she was okay, but inside her chest a new kind of storm rose. A child out there, alone. A father gone. A truth buried in dust, waiting for either greed or goodness to open it. She dialed the number. A social worker answered. Tired at first, then sharp with shock, as Nia explained what she found. There was an Eli Hale in the system, 8 years old, moved from home to home since his mother died. He had been waiting quietly for a father who never came. The social worker asked Nia to bring the letters to the county office. Nia looked at Malik, then at the open unit, then at the sky beyond the door. She said yes. By afternoon, she was placing the letters on a desk in a small office that smelled like paper and coffee. The social worker read with trembling hands, then called supervisors. Lawyers, investigators. The documents in the unit were real. The trust fund was real. The letters were proof that Dr. Hale had been framed by a partner who wanted his practice. The case reopened within hours. Eli was found that evening at a foster home, his thin, quiet, careful eyes. When he was told his father had left letters for him, he didn't cry. He went still, like hope was too dangerous to touch. He held the paper with both hands, reading as if the words might vanish. Nia waited in the hall. She didn't push herself into his moment. When he finally stepped out, clutching the letters, she knelt so her eyes met his. She told him she was just someone who found what belonged to him. She told him he wasn't forgotten. She told him he was not alone. Eli's face broke. Tears came fast and honest. Years of waiting poured out in that quiet hallway, and Nia felt her own heart bend toward him. 2 days later, Dr. Hale's aunt and lawyers met Nia. They thanked her like she had pulled their family back from drowning. She was given legal rights to the unit's remaining items and a finder's reward tied to the trust. The money wasn't a fantasy, it was stability. Rent paid, a winter coat for Malik, a repaired car, a chance to return to school and finish. Her medical certification, Nia, didn't become a different person. She became a safer version of herself. And that safety was a miracle. Weeks later, a small letter arrived in messy child handwriting. Eli thanked her for finding his father's words. He said he slept better now. He said he hoped Malik liked the toy car he sent, because he wanted to be friends. Nia held that letter at her kitchen table and cried softly, not from pain this time, but from the quiet joy of knowing she had done the right thing even. When her own life was heavy, she walked into that auction hoping to flip a cabinet. She walked out having lifted a lost child back into the light. $27 didn't buy her treasure. It bought her a moment to choose courage. Courage changed everything. If this story moved you, comment where you're watching from. And share a time kindness opened a door in your life. Subscribe for more stories about hidden secrets, quiet heroes, and the moments that prove doing good still matters.